Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Um, Today's video, I'm just kind of sitting here. I'm kind of wasting some time, I guess. Um, I wanted to talk about how I started my custom farming business and just basically talk about, how I got started, um, things I've learned, things I've done, you know, hopefully, possibly inspire other people to go out and do start a business, whatever. Um, so in 2017, the fall of 2017, I was a senior in high school. Um, I mean, your typical, I don't want to say typical senior, but basically I was in the shop 3/4 of the day. I did a lot of I took what I needed to take, and that was about it. I was never much for school, but obviously you got to take it and whatnot. So, anyways, it was about I think October. No, it was later. Probably late October, possibly early November. Um, I guess I gotta jump. I gotta step back a little bit. So I had a class with. He's a good friend of mine. I'm actually gonna go hang out with him tonight. His name is Logan. Um, and he's a dairy farmer. They're a smaller dairy farmer, and we got talking in one class about custom farming. His brother-in-law, who actually his brother-in-law and a brother of his, um, they had a custom baling business that they started. They were going a few years, I believe. I shouldn't say we always, but they were the ones that we called when we needed stuff baled. And anyways, I'm talking with Logan, and I said, yeah, I'm kind of tossing around, possibly buying a round baler, and possibly doing some custom work or trying to do some custom work. And at that time, it was all just thoughts. Um, and So, anyways, one thing led to another. Logan said something to his brother in law, and come October, November, I was contacted by, which would be his brother in law, and they were talking about getting out of the business. Um, they just, I think it was becoming too much for them. Uh, they were putting in some long hours, and it's tough. It really is tough. Um, and though they were looking to get out, they had plans. One of them was going here, and the other one's working full time already. Um, and yeah, so they wanted to get out. Asked me because like I said, I was talking about possibly doing something, and yeah, he contacted me. This is kind of the funny part is he contacted me probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. I was sitting in the chair. I was ready to go to bed, and I get this text, and at that time, I was ready to go to bed, and here I got to think about this, and I was talk with my dad, and the one thing I said is, this might be our opportunity to run better equipment, or hopefully maybe expand the farm or do other things. And we talked about it in a couple weeks, and then I got a phone call, and before you know it, I was in a baler. I was running a baler. I was running their tractor, which is a John Deere tractor. I was running that, and I rode with both of them, I believe. And we kind of just we kept talking, and then finally it was like, all right, we're gonna do it. And and then we started talking to our tax advisor, and eventually then we talked to the banker, and um, talk, we were basically talking to everybody, just trying to figure out what we need to do and whatnot. Um, so in the end, we we needed to create an LLC, so we had to go to the lawyer, do that. The reason we needed to do that is because there's two different um, enterprises, I guess. So we have the farm, which is the cattle, the crops, and all that, and then we'd have the baling or the custom farming. Um, and we'll say bad comes to worst, somebody ends up, or I get in an accident on the road with the tractor and baler, and somehow, some way, that person tries to sue me for, you know, it is what it is, and you see these lawsuits all the time. People are always trying to sue each other, I guess, is, it's not the best way to say it, but um, the LLC would protect not only me, my business, but also the farm. And we wanted to be absolutely sure that it was going to be okay. So we had to do that. Another thing, I believe I said this in another video. We originally, this was going to be I was going to do this all on my own. Um, talked to, I think we talked to our tax advisor, and he says, well, at the time I was only 18 years old, that the loan that I was going to need was going to be a large loan for a guy my age. And so what we did is we split the business 50-50 between me and dad. And that way he's got plenty of capital and all that. We got the farm. Obviously, things are going pretty good around here. He's taken loans before. It's just what you got to do. Um, and in the end, I believe the loan was for roughly 150,000. And basically, I bought the baler from the 2017 baler. I bought that from the brothers we were buying out. I bought that. I bought my wrapper, the two blind bale wrapper, the bale bagger, which they actually built themselves. Um, let's see, I believe that was it. We traded in our hay mower, purchased the hay mower we have now. We purchased that tedder. I don't think I have any videos of that. We'll get to that next spring though. Um, the tedder. We had a rake. We ended up purchasing that smaller whirly rake. Um, Unless something's slipping my mind, I think that's pretty well it for equipment. Um, the T7 230 was leased at the time. We leased that the fall before. Um, at the time when we were talking about this, we were looking at leasing a tractor. And what we ended up doing is doubling the hours per year. We were looking at 300 hours a year. We ended up doubling that to 600 hours a year. And so far, that seems to be working pretty good. Um, and yeah, I don't think we bought too much more then. We couple wagons and flatbeds and just miscellaneous stuff kind of came throughout the year. Um, so we did this all. We had it done January, February, I believe. Uh, and they were amazing, amazing guys to work with. They were there for me every step of the way. They helped me get everything set up, hooked up. If I had an issue, they they'd be one phone call away. They pretty well knew the problems. It was unbelievable uh, how well they took care of me. I guess getting me going because big square baler is I guess it is technically kind of like a small square, but it's like 10 steps higher because you got, um, compared to our little baler, you just kind of, let it run in there, just try not to choke it out. The big baler, we got the computer, we got the applicator, it takes time to learn all that as well as figuring out all your issues and figuring out how everything works, and it's just a huge step up from what I was used to. Um, and yeah, so we had that all figured out. I ended up getting my logo and phone number put on the side at school because I was in a class. I worked in a class that actually did that. Um, my They gave me a customer list, all the numbers. I ended up putting all the numbers in my phone right away, which I have a lot of them that never did call, but it is what it is. I mean, it's a new owner, new business. It just, you know, can't expect to get them all, I guess, which is completely fine. I'm very happy where I am. But, anyways, I did all that, and I'm sitting in a class. I believe it was accounting. I was in accounting, and it was kind of a class that it was on the computer that you basically, it was self-paced, I guess. You kind of had a little bit of a timeline when you had to get stuff done, but other than that, you could work ahead. And this was towards the end of that class, and I was pretty well done with it. And it was pretty laid back. We kind of always sat there and talked about stuff. And anyways, I get a phone call, and I know who it is because I labeled it all on my phone, and I think I was so excited that I just answered it. And what he had is, I believe it was about 20 acres of barley straw. He put, after he combined his wheat off, he planted barley in and he let it grow all the rest of the summer, the fall, and he let it go all winter. And then in the spring, he cuts it, and then they bale it, and he uses that for feed and whatnot. And he had that. He was out there cutting it, and he was looking for a baler towards the end of the week. And I said, okay, we'll make it work. Whatever we got to do. Um, And so a couple days went by, and it wasn't a couple days. It was, I think, later on in the afternoon. He called me again and said, "Hey, this stuff's pretty dry. You can probably bale it whenever." And I said, "Well, okay." I said, "I come tomorrow." Okay, that works, he said. And well, what I ended up doing is going to school until noon. We had something going on that day. It was kind of an assembly in a way. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll just miss that. This is far more important than anything I'd learned, which that was a very good assembly, or so I'm told. Um, I was like, all right, I gotta go. I gotta get this done. So, about after lunch or so, I went home. We got everything. I ate lunch. We had everything ready to go. Mid afternoon, we took off. Dad ended up following. He came out there and rode with me just to, make sure everything was gonna go okay. And it went fairly well. I didn't make a whole lot of bales, but for the first job, it was exciting, I guess. Um, then soon after that, we had our own corn stalks to make, which in past years we would call the guys, and they would usually come and bale them. So I think we had about 50 acres total, and we ended up making a lot of bales, and and that is where the baling of the bedding started, I guess. We said, hey, maybe we should try and sell some bales. Well, I ended up throwing it on, I believe, Facebook, buy, sell, trade, maybe Craigslist, and I called my dad about noon the next day, and I said, hey, I think I got them all sold. I was messaging people back and forth. I don't know if I don't think I had too many phone calls, but and don't get me wrong, I studied very hard in school, but obviously I was a senior, so I mean, basically this just there to be there. Um, I ended up selling the bales while I was at school, and and that's when we realized that hey, we can really make some good money by selling bales. Um, you just got to put the time and effort into it. So we were work. I got to step back again. I got ahead of myself. I was about halfway done with ours, and I ended up getting a phone call. It was a larger dairy, probably 15-20 minute drive by car. That I believe it was 80 acres of corn stalks, and basically it was gonna rain. I think in a few days, and they wanted them done before then. So what I did is we packed things up. I filled up with fuel, and I headed over there that night already. And we started, and I realized that I had to go to school the next day, and we had like a full day of bailing. What am I gonna do? And I just remember going to school the next day, and it was just like, holy cow, what am I gonna do? I got all this bedding to make. We got our own to make. I had like over 100, I had probably 150 acres of bedding to make. And it was just like, holy cow, I should have graduated early. And so that was a struggle there.